Introduction: The Power of Rethinking. Adam Grant opens Think Again with a compelling argument about the importance of rethinking and unlearning. He challenges the traditional notion that intelligence is solely about acquiring knowledge and proposes that true wisdom lies in recognizing the limits of our understanding and being willing to revise our beliefs. The book's central theme is that we should approach our beliefs and decisions with the mindset of a scientist, constantly hypothesizing, testing, and updating our conclusions based on new evidence. Grant stresses that in a rapidly changing world, the ability to rethink and adapt is crucial for success, both individually and collectively. Grant illustrates how many of us fall into the trap of cognitive entrenchment, where our beliefs become rigid, and we resist changing our minds even when faced with new information. This rigidity can lead to poor decision-making and missed opportunities for growth. He introduces the idea of cognitive flexibility, which involves being open to new perspectives and willing to change our minds when necessary. The introduction sets the stage for the rest of the book, which explores how rethinking can improve our lives and the lives of those around us. Part 1: Individual Rethinking. Chapter 1: A preacher, a prosecutor, a politician, and a scientist walk into your mind. In the first chapter, Grant explores four common mental modes that people adopt in their thinking: the preacher, the prosecutor, the politician, and the scientist. The preacher defends their beliefs as though they were sacred truths. This mode is characterized by a strong attachment to one's own ideas and a reluctance to consider alternative viewpoints. Preachers are more interested in converting others to their way of thinking than in exploring new ideas. The prosecutor is focused on winning arguments and proving others wrong. This mode involves using logic and rhetoric to dismantle opposing viewpoints, often without considering whether one's own stance is correct. Prosecutors are more concerned with being right than with discovering the truth. The politician seeks approval and support, often shifting their views to align with what is popular or advantageous. In this mode, people prioritize social harmony and personal gain over intellectual honesty. Politicians are more likely to say what they think others want to hear, rather than what they actually believe. The scientist, on the other hand, approaches beliefs as hypotheses to be tested and revised based on evidence. This mode is characterized by curiosity, open-mindedness, and a willingness to change one's mind in light of new information. Scientists are less concerned with being right and more focused on getting it right. Grant argues that the scientist mode is the most conducive to growth and learning because it encourages intellectual humility and a continuous search for truth. He encourages readers to adopt a scientific mindset in their daily lives, questioning their assumptions, seeking out new information, and being open to revising their beliefs. This chapter lays the foundation for the rest of the book by emphasizing the importance of rethinking as a key skill for navigating a complex and ever-changing world. Chapter 2: The Armchair Quarterback and the Imposter. In this chapter, Grant delves into two contrasting mindsets: the overconfident armchair quarterback and the self-doubting imposter. The armchair quarterback epitomizes overconfidence. This is the person who assumes they know more than they actually do, often offering opinions on topics where they have little expertise. This mindset can lead to cognitive laziness, where individuals stop seeking new information because they believe they already have all the answers. Overconfidence can be particularly dangerous because it prevents individuals from recognizing their own limitations and blinds them to potential mistakes. Imposter syndrome, on the other hand, involves the persistent fear of being exposed as a fraud, despite evident success or competence. Those experiencing imposter syndrome often doubt their abilities and feel unworthy of their achievements. While this mindset can cause anxiety and stress, Grant points out that it also has a surprising upside. People who experience imposter syndrome are more likely to be motivated to learn, seek feedback, and improve themselves because they are acutely aware of their knowledge gaps. Grant suggests that the ideal approach lies somewhere between these two extremes. He introduces the concept of confident humility, which involves believing in one's ability to improve while recognizing the need for continuous learning. This mindset allows individuals to take action with confidence while remaining open to new information and willing to admit when they are wrong. Grant argues that confident humility is a key component of effective rethinking because it encourages a balance between self-assurance and a willingness to change one's mind. Chapter 3, The Joy of Being Wrong. This chapter explores the concept of embracing the joy of being wrong as a pathway to personal and intellectual growth. Grant challenges the common perception that being wrong is a sign of failure, and instead presents it as an opportunity for learning and improvement. He argues that our society often stigmatizes mistakes, leading people to cling to their beliefs even when they are proven wrong. Grant introduces the idea that being wrong can be a positive experience if we approach it with the right mindset. He shares stories of successful individuals who have embraced their mistakes and used them as stepping stones to greater achievements. For example, he discusses how entrepreneurs often view failure as an integral part of the innovation process, using it to refine their ideas and strategies. The chapter also delves into the psychological mechanisms that make it difficult for people to admit when they are wrong. These include cognitive dissonance, where holding conflicting beliefs causes discomfort, and the sunk cost fallacy, where people continue investing in a losing proposition because they have already invested so much. Grant offers strategies for overcoming these biases, such as reframing failure as feedback and focusing on the potential for growth. Ultimately, Grant argues that embracing the joy of being wrong is essential for developing a rethinking mindset. By viewing mistakes as opportunities for learning, we can become more adaptable, resilient, and open to new ideas. This chapter encourages readers to let go of the fear of being wrong, and to see rethinking as a continuous process of refinement and growth. Part 2, Interpersonal Rethinking. Chapter 4, The Good Fight Club. Grant shifts focus to interpersonal rethinking, and how engaging in constructive conflict can lead to better outcomes in relationships, teams, and organizations. He argues that avoiding conflict is not always the best strategy. Instead, engaging in healthy debates can lead to more innovative ideas and stronger relationships. Grant distinguishes between two types of conflict. Task conflict revolves around differences in ideas, approaches, or opinions. This type of conflict can be productive because it encourages people to think critically and consider alternative perspectives. Task conflict can lead to better decision-making and creativity because it challenges the status quo and prompts people to rethink their assumptions. Relationship conflict, on the other hand, is personal and emotional, often leading to resentment and a breakdown in communication. This type of conflict is typically unproductive and can harm relationships and team dynamics. Grant suggests that the key to engaging in constructive conflict is to focus on the task rather than the relationship. He encourages people to approach disagreements with curiosity, asking questions to understand the other person's perspective and exploring how different ideas might be combined to create a better solution. By reframing conflict as a collaborative problem-solving process, rather than a battle to be won, people can achieve better outcomes and strengthen their relationships. The chapter also offers practical advice for managing conflict, such as setting ground rules for debates, encouraging dissenting opinions, and ensuring that everyone has a chance to speak. Grant emphasizes the importance of creating a psychologically safe environment where people feel comfortable expressing their ideas and challenging the status quo. This chapter is particularly relevant for leaders and managers who want to foster a culture of innovation and continuous improvement within their teams. Chapter 5, Dances with Foes. Building on the previous chapter, Grant explores how we can engage with people who hold opposing views in a way that fosters understanding rather than animosity. He argues that rather than trying to win an argument, we should approach disagreements with the goal of learning from the other person and finding common ground. Grant introduces motivational interviewing, a technique used by therapists to help people explore their own motivations for change. This approach involves asking open-ended questions, listening actively, and reflecting back what the other person says to help them articulate their thoughts and feelings. Grant suggests that this technique can be effective in conversations where we want to persuade others or reach a mutual understanding. The chapter also discusses the importance of empathy in rethinking. Grant argues that empathy allows us to see the world from another person's perspective, and to understand the emotions and experiences that shape their beliefs. By connecting with others on an emotional level, we can create a foundation for productive dialogue and potentially change minds, including our own. Grant provides examples of how empathy and motivational interviewing can be applied in various contexts, from personal relationships to professional negotiations. He emphasizes the importance of patience and persistence in these conversations, noting that changing deeply held beliefs often takes time and requires a willingness to engage in multiple discussions. Chapter 6: Bad Blood on the Diamond. In this chapter, Grant tells the story of the rivalry between the New York Yankees and the Boston Red Sox, two of the most storied teams in Major League Baseball. Despite decades of animosity, the teams eventually found a way to cooperate for mutual benefit, demonstrating that even the most entrenched rivalries can be overcome when parties are willing to rethink their positions. Grant uses this story to explore the psychological barriers to reconciliation, such as in-group bias and moral superiority, where people see their own group as fundamentally better than others. These biases can lead to a sense of righteousness that makes it difficult to engage with opposing viewpoints. Grant suggests that overcoming these barriers requires a willingness to recognize our own biases and to approach others with humility and a genuine desire to understand their perspective. The chapter also discusses the role of leadership in fostering a culture of rethinking within organizations and communities. Grant argues that leaders who model intellectual humility and encourage open dialogue can help break down barriers and create environments where rethinking is not just accepted but expected. He offers practical advice for leaders, such as creating opportunities for cross-group collaboration, rewarding those who challenge the status quo, and ensuring that all voices are heard. Part 3: Collective Rethinking. Chapter 7: Escaping Tunnel Vision. Grant addresses the dangers of tunnel vision in teams and organizations, where groupthink and cognitive entrenchment can stifle innovation and lead to poor decision-making. He explains how organizations often become so focused on their existing strategies and beliefs that they miss out on new opportunities or fail to adapt to changing circumstances. The chapter offers strategies for encouraging collective rethinking within organizations, such as promoting diversity of thought, encouraging dissent, and creating a safe space for questioning assumptions. Grant highlights the importance of leaders who model intellectual humility and create an environment where it's safe to challenge the status quo. One key strategy Grant discusses is devil's advocacy, where someone is assigned the role of questioning the assumptions and decisions of the group. This approach helps to prevent groupthink and ensures that alternative perspectives are considered. Another strategy is pre-mortem analysis, where a team imagines that a project or decision has failed and works backward to identify potential problems. This exercise helps teams anticipate challenges and develop contingency plans. Grant also discusses the importance of psychological safety in fostering a culture of rethinking. When team members feel that their contributions are valued and that they won't be punished for speaking up, they are more likely to share their ideas and engage in constructive conflict. This, in turn, leads to better outcomes and more innovative solutions. Chapter 8: Rewriting the Textbook. This chapter focuses on the education system and how it can be transformed to promote rethinking rather than rote learning. Grant argues that traditional education often prioritizes memorization and the regurgitation of information, which can discourage students from questioning what they are taught. He advocates for an approach to education that emphasizes critical thinking, curiosity, and the ability to challenge assumptions. Grant shares examples of educators who have successfully implemented rethinking strategies in their classrooms, such as encouraging students to debate different perspectives, engage in problem-solving activities, and reflect on their own learning process. The chapter also discusses the importance of teaching students to be adaptable and resilient in the face of change. In a rapidly evolving world, the ability to rethink and learn new skills is more valuable than ever. Grant suggests that by fostering a love of learning and a willingness to embrace uncertainty, educators can prepare students to thrive in an unpredictable future. Grant introduces the idea of desirable difficulties in education, where students are presented with challenges that push them to think more deeply and develop their problem-solving skills. While these challenges may make learning more difficult in the short term, they ultimately lead to better retention and understanding. This approach encourages students to embrace the process of learning, rather than simply aiming for the right answers. Chapter 9: That's Not the Way We've Always Done It. Grant explores how organizations can avoid stagnation and stay competitive by fostering a culture of innovation and adaptability. He argues that many organizations become complacent after achieving success, relying on past strategies that may no longer be effective in a changing environment. The chapter offers practical advice for leaders on how to create an environment where rethinking is encouraged and rewarded. This includes setting up systems for continuous feedback, creating opportunities for experimentation, and recognizing and rewarding those who challenge the status quo. Grant discusses the concept of lean startup methodology, which involves testing new ideas quickly and iterating based on feedback. This approach allows organizations to experiment with new strategies and products without committing significant resources upfront. By embracing a culture of experimentation, organizations can stay agile and responsive to changes in the market. The chapter also explores the role of failure in the rethinking process. Grant argues that organizations should not view failure as something to be avoided at all costs, but rather as an essential part of learning and growth. By creating a culture where failure is seen as a valuable source of feedback, organizations can encourage innovation and reduce the fear of taking risks. Part 4, Rethinking in Action. Chapter 10, Rethinking, Fast and Slow. This chapter synthesizes insights from psychology, behavioral economics, and decision-making research to explain how individuals and organizations can develop habits of rethinking. Grant draws on Daniel Kahneman's concept of thinking fast and slow to describe how we can improve our decision-making by balancing quick, intuitive judgments with more deliberate, reflective thinking. Grant introduces several strategies for overcoming cognitive biases and improving our ability to rethink. These include pre-mortem analysis, imagining that a project or decision has failed and then working backward to identify what could go wrong. This helps teams anticipate potential problems and develop contingency plans. Devil's advocacy, assigning someone the role of challenging assumptions and presenting counterarguments to prevent groupthink and ensure that different perspectives are considered. Learning loops, continuously revising and updating our beliefs and strategies based on new information and feedback. This approach encourages a mindset of continuous improvement and adaptability. Grant emphasizes the importance of slowing down and taking the time to reflect, especially in situations where the stakes are high. By integrating rethinking into our decision-making process, we can become more adaptable and better equipped to navigate complexity and uncertainty. The chapter also discusses the role of metacognition, or thinking about thinking, in improving our decision-making. By becoming more aware of our own thought processes and biases, we can develop better strategies for rethinking and avoid falling into cognitive traps. Chapter 11, Conclusion. A note to readers, the rethinking virtuoso. In the final chapter, Grant encourages readers to take the principles of rethinking and apply them in their own lives. He summarizes the key themes of the book and offers practical tips for developing a rethinking mindset. Grant challenges readers to embrace curiosity, make a habit of asking questions and seeking out new information, even when it challenges your existing beliefs. Curiosity is the driving force behind rethinking, as it pushes us to explore new ideas and perspectives. Value flexibility, be willing to change your mind in light of new evidence and to adjust your approach when circumstances change. Flexibility allows us to adapt to new situations and to continuously improve our understanding of the world. Cultivate a growth mindset. View setbacks and failures as opportunities to learn and grow, rather than as threats to your self-worth. A growth mindset encourages us to see challenges as opportunities for development, rather than as obstacles to be avoided. Build a culture of rethinking. Whether at work or in your personal life, encourage those around you to question assumptions and engage in constructive dialogue. Creating a culture of rethinking involves fostering an environment where people feel safe to express dissenting opinions, challenge the status quo, and continuously seek improvement. Grant emphasizes that leaders and individuals alike can play a crucial role in cultivating this culture. In his closing thoughts, Grant reminds readers that rethinking is not a one-time event, but an ongoing process that requires practice and dedication. He encourages us to make rethinking a daily habit, whether by questioning our own beliefs, engaging in thoughtful conversations with others, or seeking out new information and perspectives. Key concepts and practical applications. Intellectual humility, recognizing the limits of our knowledge and being willing to admit when we are wrong is essential for personal growth and effective decision-making. Rather than clinging to our beliefs, we should approach them as hypotheses to be tested and revised in light of new evidence. The benefits of constructive conflict. Engaging in healthy debates can lead to more innovative ideas and stronger relationships. By focusing on ideas rather than personalities and approaching disagreements with curiosity, we can achieve better outcomes and learn from others' perspectives. Overcoming cognitive biases. Recognizing and addressing cognitive biases, such as overconfidence, confirmation bias, and the sunk cost fallacy, is essential for improving our decision-making processes. Strategies like devil's advocacy, pre-mortem analysis, and learning loops can help us avoid these biases and make more informed choices. Creating a culture of rethinking. In organizations and communities, fostering a culture of rethinking encourages innovation and adaptability. Leaders play a crucial role in modeling intellectual humility, promoting diversity of thought, and creating an environment where questioning assumptions is valued. Rethinking in education. Shifting the focus of education from rote memorization to critical thinking and adaptability is essential for preparing students to thrive in a rapidly changing world. By encouraging curiosity, problem-solving, and a willingness to challenge assumptions, educators can help students develop the skills needed for lifelong learning. Embracing failure as feedback. Failure should not be viewed as a setback but as a valuable source of feedback. By learning from our mistakes and using them to refine our strategies, we can become more resilient and innovative in both personal and professional contexts. The joy of being wrong. Rather than seeing mistakes as signs of incompetence, we should embrace them as opportunities for growth. Being wrong allows us to learn, unlearn, and improve, leading to greater wisdom and better decision-making. Leadership and rethinking. Leaders who encourage open dialogue, reward dissent, and model intellectual humility create environments where rethinking is not just accepted but expected. These leaders foster innovation and adaptability, helping their organizations stay competitive in a rapidly changing world. Practical rethinking strategies. Techniques such as motivational interviewing, pre-mortem analysis, and the use of learning loops can help individuals and organizations rethink their strategies and make better decisions. By incorporating these techniques into our daily lives, we can develop habits of continuous improvement and adaptability. Developing a rethinking mindset. Ultimately, rethinking is a skill that can be cultivated through practice and dedication. By embracing curiosity, humility, and a growth mindset, we can become more flexible, adaptable, and open to new ideas, leading to better outcomes in all areas of life. Final thoughts. Think Again is a call to embrace the power of rethinking in our personal and professional lives. By adopting a mindset of curiosity, intellectual humility, and flexibility, we can navigate the complexities and uncertainties of the modern world with greater wisdom and effectiveness. Adam Grant provides both a philosophical framework and practical tools for rethinking, encouraging us to let go of rigid beliefs and embrace the joy of learning, unlearning, and improving. Through engaging stories, research-based insights, and actionable strategies, Think Again offers readers a roadmap for cultivating the skill of rethinking. Whether you're a leader seeking to foster innovation in your organization, a teacher looking to inspire critical thinking in your students, or an individual striving for personal growth, the principles of rethinking can help you achieve greater success and fulfillment in all aspects of life. By integrating the lessons of Think Again into our daily routines, we can develop the habits of questioning assumptions, seeking out diverse perspectives, and embracing change. In doing so, we not only improve our own lives but also contribute to creating a more thoughtful, innovative, and adaptable society.